Today we're going to continue to talk about literature, and we're going to continue the topic of the books as well, exploring the world of books, of course. And today we're also going to focus on how to write a book review. So let's move to the first slide in our today's online lesson. So here are our goals, a brief note on what we're going to focus on today. So recall and revise the genres of literature. We are going to discuss the world of books to learn how to write a book review. So these are our goals for today's lesson. My name is Miss Anna, and let's start. Let's continue exploring the world of literature. So as first of all, we are going to focus on the revision of the genres of literature. Here on the right, by the way, you can see the words, the key words that are connected and associated with art, specifically about literature. So you can see library, reading, fiction, bookshelf, fable, imagination, myth, interpretation, animation, and many more other words. So you can scan this word cloud and recall which words are connected with the literature. And now let's move on. Last week, we were actually talking about genres of literature. So let's revise the main ones. So let's move to the first one here. It's a novel. So from the lessons of literature, world literature, Ukrainian literature, you probably know that a novel is a long work of narrative fiction, typically written in prose and published as a book. So there are many novels, there are many subgenres, small genres of the novels. Here you can see the basically some of the most popular and famous novels: Divergent, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, Charles Dickens, Great Expectations, The Chronicles of Narnia, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and so on and so forth. So all of these books in general are considered to be novels. They may fall into small subgenres like fantasy or fiction and fiction. So basically, they are considered to be novels. Speaking about fiction, by the way, there is another genre that we are going to take a look at. That's science fiction. So from the name, we can assume that it's about science, So some things that are connected with scientific technology, things, and so on. So here you can see the general explanation. These are the books about advanced science and technology, space exploration, time travel, parallel universes, and life on other planets. Basically, again, you can take a look at the picture and the illustration, and here are some of the most popular examples of these of the books of this genre. So Day Zero, Sky Hunter, The Martian, and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. These two books, by the way, the last two books I have mentioned, they are a great example of the popular science fiction. So you may have seen the movies based on those. So that's quite a widespread genre. So let's get to the next one. It's a mystery, or also they are called detective novels. So this is a fiction genre, which means it's not based on a true story. You can watch the previous episode of our lesson when we were talking about those subgenres in more details. So basically, fiction genre, imaginary events, where the nature of an event, the origin, usually it is a crime. It remains mysterious until the end of the story. So we don't know who the who the criminal is. So we don't know who was the murderer on the Orient Express. Yeah, here you can see in the top right corner. We don't know the secret of the Hound of the Baskervilles till we read the book by Conan Doyle till the end, and so on and so forth. So mystery or detective novel. Here again, 6 examples of the world classics mystery, let's say. So Agatha Christie and Conan Doyle, probably they are the most famous guys. And then some other examples. So the next genre we're going to focus on today, it's fantasy fiction. So that's probably the most widespread literature today. Fantasy literature usually happens, the events in these books happen in the set of an imaginary universe. Magic, the supernatural and magical creatures are common in many of these imaginary worlds. So Harry Potter, again, Narnia, yeah, this is a subgenre of fantasy fiction. So The Hobbit, Patrick Rothfuss and his trilogy. Then we can see Ursula Le Guin, Terry Pratchett, Joe Abercrombie. We can also see Stephanie Meyer and her Twilight here. All these books are considered to be fantasy fiction. So they tell about imaginary events, about imaginary universe, magic, supernatural, all of those things happen in fantasy fiction. So let's move to the questionnaire. So speaking about the genres, yeah, what book genres do you like? And what is your favorite book of all time? You can choose one of the questions from here, either what book genres do you like and why, and what is your favorite book of all time, or you can answer both of these questions in our online chat in YouTube. So I'm going to read the most interesting ones, or maybe like all of them. If we don't have too many answers, then I'm going to read all of the answers that you write in the comments. So what book genres do you like and why? What is your favorite book of all time? Write your answers in the chat. And while you're thinking, while you're trying to recall what your favorite genres is or are, so I'm going to give you a short reminder about which types of genres you may know and which of them exist in the literature. So romance, yeah, that's about some romantic relationships between people. That's about love and bouquets of flowers and so on. Poetry, that's poems, verses with a rhyme, like Shakespeare wrote. Adventure, thriller, crime, sci-fi, fantasy, classics, horror, and mystery. So here are the main literature genres. Again, adventure is when something is happening to the main characters all the time. They are looking for the clues, they are traveling the world, and so on and so forth. Thriller, that's when something really mysterious, however scary, is happening. Crime, we have already talked about detective novels, yeah, so probably somebody gets killed or something happens, we have a crime that is needed to be investigated. Sci-fi, it's a short word for science fiction. The Martian, yeah, and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that we have mentioned in one of the previous slides, those are actually great examples of sci-fi, science fiction. Fantasy, again, Harry Potter, Hobbit, Narnia, Twilight, whatever it is. Classics, so that would be something more to Jane Austen, William Thackeray, Fitzgerald. So that would be classics novels. Horrors, the genre of horror usually tells very scary, horrifying stories, yeah, that make our blood chill, yeah, and we have goosebumps all over our bodies because we get scared because of some monstrous creatures or supernatural events that are quite terrible. So that's horror. And mystery, already discussed that, something similar to crime, but it's like more mysterious. We don't know what is going on. So that's mystery. So what about you? Which book genres from this list, or maybe there is something else that we have missed out? So which book genres do you like and why? And what are your favorite books of all time? Maybe it's not just one, maybe it's 2, 3, many more. Definitely, sometimes it's difficult to elicit just one book genre or just one favorite book that we prefer most. So I can see one answer, Drive. I haven't heard of that book, actually, and unfortunately, I don't see the name of the author mentioned. So yeah, but I'm sure this book is really interesting. So any other ideas, any other examples of your favorite books? I'm going to wait a little bit so that you have some time to think of your answers, write something down, and send it to the chat. So favorite book genres, favorite books. It could be not only English literature, yeah, of course, that's about world literature, that's about Ukrainian literature as well. So speaking about these genres that we have discussed, they relate to all literature all over the world. Some of the genres are not mentioned here, like mythology or myths, folklore. Yeah, they also exist in the world, definitely in all of the countries with their culture. We can see the examples of those literature genres as well. So, for example, Greek mythology, Ukrainian mythology as well, and many others. Those are also very interesting genres. Pride and Prejudice is my favorite classic book. Yeah, I love this one as well, and I like the movie adaptations too. So if you have read the book in Ukrainian translation, if you have seen the movie, it's actually a great idea to reread the book or rewatch the movie in English. So if it is a book, of course, then it is in English. If it is a movie, you can watch it in English, in the original language, turning on the subtitles to get to understand the general meaning of what the characters are saying. Yeah, Pride and Prejudice is actually one of the greatest novels of all time by Jane Austen. Yeah, she was quite a very interesting writer in her time. Yeah, she started the subgenre of feminist novel because her female character were funny, humorous, strong, yeah, and confident. So that was really a new breath in the literature. Okay, the favorite books of Mr. Borshik are Drive and American Psycho. Actually, yeah, also, I now understand which book you're talking about. Yeah, American Psycho. It's actually a combination of crime thriller and psychological novel because that tells us the story about the man with some specific behavior, let's say, and specific state of mind and the specific mindset. We have the opportunity to dig into how he thinks and how he does things. Yeah, so that's actually a very good example of a novel. And actually, it also has a very good movie adaptation. Yeah, with great actors. Okay, you can write your comments about the favorite genres and favorite books in YouTube comment section while we're moved to the next task so that we don't stop and pause here for a long time. When we have a next pause, I will definitely read your comments and we're going to discuss them a little bit more. So now let's go to the next slide. We're going to revise some of the words connected with books. So our task will be to match the words with their explanations or definitions. Yeah, in other words. So let's take a look at the words and let's take a look at their translation. So actually here we have the translation. So on the left, the words, on the right, the translation. So let's read the words first of all. 1, chapter. 2, character. 3, fiction. 4, narrator. 5, plot. 6, title. 7, setting. And translation. A. Оточення, навколишня обстановка. B. Оповідач. C. Художня література. D. Глава. E. Сюжет. F. Персонаж, герой твору. G. Заголовок назва. So, our task is to match the words on the left and the translations on the right. So let's think, now knowing the translation list and seeing the words on the left, let's think which word, which translation on the right can we match to the word chapter. So what is a chapter? Let me explain you it in the English word so that maybe it will be easier for you to understand what it is in Ukrainian. So chapter is a part of the book. Usually it has its own title, its own name. So every book is, well, it consists of some parts. Кожна книжка складається з певних частин. How do we name them? How do we call? Okay. You can write your ideas in the chat like 1A, 2B, 3C, and so on. Okay. So yeah, chapter is глава. So 1D, that's correct. Okay, I can see that you're writing that you need some extra Ukrainian translation. No problem. Yeah, if it's something is not clear, you can write in the chat. Якщо щось не зрозуміло, пишіть в чаті. Звичайно, будемо перекладати, допомагати. Ми тут всі для того, щоб навчати. Тому це не проблема. Якщо щось не зрозуміло, обов'язково пишіть, будемо перекладати. Okay, the next word is number 2, character. So who do we call a character in the book? So a character, yeah, that's somebody in the plot who does some important things. A person, yeah, so that should be a hint. Так, підказка. Це людина у книзі. So who's that? Definitely, that's 2F. A character is персонаж, герой твору. So character. Number 3, fiction. So what is fiction? We have already seen this word in the previous slide. So what do we call fiction? It's actually a genre of literature. So what exactly the genre is? This one. There is fiction, non-fiction, yeah. We discussed that in the previous lesson too. So fiction is translated as художня література. That's correct. So 3C, fiction, художня література. And of course, then we have subgenres. Так, у нас є також піджанри художньої літератури. Попередньо теж про них говорили. Science fiction, наукова фантастика, fantasy, that's also considered to be fiction. Так, fantasy – це теж художня література, тільки вже піджанр невеличкий. And many more others. Okay, number 4, narrator. Who is a narrator? Again, this is a hint for you. Yeah, that's a person, but it can be either a person in the book or, well, the person who is reading the book or the person who tells a story. Так, людина, яка розказує історію. You may know the word storyteller. Yeah, we had this word in one of the previous lessons. Знаємо слово storyteller. Той, хто розказує історію, а якщо ми говоримо про того, хто розказує історію в самій книжці, so in the book, yeah, you can see some of the characters, it can be the author who is this storyteller or narrator, then yeah, that's actually translated as оповідач. So the person who tells a story, storyteller or narrator, оповідач. Okay, number 5, the word plot. How do we translate this word? What is a plot in the book? That's usually the story, yeah, that is told in the book. You may know this word from the phrase plot twist. Yeah, when something unexpected happens in the book or in the movie as well. So it's called a plot twist. Nobody expected this to happen. But basically, the plot is a story that is told in the book. Так, історія, яка розказується в книзі. That's why it is translated as сюжет. So that's it. Plot, сюжет. You can say, the plot of this book is so interesting. So I loved the plot of the book. It's captivating. I couldn't stop reading the book for 3 days because of its plot. Я не міг зупинитися читати книжку 3 дні, тому що дуже сподобався сюжет. So 5E, plot, сюжет. Number 6, title. What is a title? Usually, yeah, that's a name of the chapter. Yeah, or the title of the book, the title of an article, if we read something in the newspaper, for example. Якщо читаємо в якихось новинах, бачимо на початку узагальнююче слово або фразу, про що в нас буде йти мова. Це слово пов'язане з контекстом, з сюжетом. So basically, we name, yeah, we name the plot, we name the book, we name the part of the book, which is also called a chapter, yeah. So what is a title? Every book has a title, every chapter usually has a title, maybe in the words or as a number, yeah, chapter 1, chapter 2. It's also a title, yeah, title. Title means the name, yeah, or заголовок назва when we talk about the books, when we talk about something written, якщо ми говоримо про щось написане, так, якщо це стаття, новини, книга, замітка, зазвичай вони мають заголовок або назву. Якщо це частина, якщо це глава книги, chapter, вони зазвичай теж називаються, мають title. So, chapter 1 – це теж title, це теж назва частини. So, title, заголовок, назва. The book has its own original title. В книги дуже оригінальна назва. Number 7 is the last word here and probably the easiest one, yeah? We have the last translation left. Setting, number 7, and translation A. Оточення, навколишня обстановка. So basically, that's what it is. Setting, оточення, навколишня обстановка. The setting of the book is an imaginary world. Наприклад, навколишня обстановка у книзі – це вигаданий світ. So, that's how this word can be used. So, setting – оточення, навколишня обстановка. The book is set in a fantasy world. Події книги відбуваються у фентезійному світі. So, are set, that's also a phrase that we can use talking about the events in the book, the circumstances, what is going on. So now that we have matched the words with their translation, let's take a look at them once again. Chapter, глава, character, персонаж, герой твору, fiction, художня література, narrator, оповідач, plot, сюжет, title, заголовок або назва, setting, оточення, навколишня обстановка. So here are the words that are connected with the books, literature, and literature genres. That's very good that you know them. We have revised them. Now let's take a look at the sentences. Your task is to put the words from the box into the correct gaps. One word is extra. Зараз нам необхідно поставити слова з таблички в відповідні пробіли. Одне зі слів буде зайвим. Let's take a look at the words. Character, fiction, chapter, narrator, title, plot, setting. So here we have 7 words from the previous exercise. Ці 7 слів з попередньої вправи. Our task is to put them into the sentences. Let's take a look at the sentences. Number 1. I read the first of the book last night and it seems pretty good. Sentence 2. The main of this book is Harry Potter. 3. Science stories often mention robots that can talk. 4. This book has a very boring. That's why I didn't finish it. 5. Every chapter of this book has its own. And number 6. The imaginary world of Narnia is the main of this fantasy book. So, now we have read all the sentences. Ми зараз прочитали всі ці речення. Тепер давайте ставимо правильні слова до кожного пропуску. Let's match the correct words into the correct gaps. So let's think on number 1. I read the first something of the book last night and it seems pretty good. So what could the person read that is the first something of the book? Don't forget, we were just talking about these words and we mentioned that the books have their own parts. So number 1 is very good. I can see the correct answers already. Good. Yeah, I read the first chapter. Like I read the first part, small part of the book. Good. Good. Very nice. Okay. Number 2, the main something or somebody of this book is Harry Potter. So who is Harry Potter in the books about him? Yeah, he is the main guy, the main person, the main boy, or how do we call him? What do we call him if we know that he is the main person there? In Ukrainian, we can say персонаж, but there is another word in English for this. So the main person, or if it is a literature word, then yeah, very good. I can see the correct answers in the chat already. The main character of the book is Harry Potter. So character. It's дієва особа or персонаж. Number 3. Science stories often mention robots that can talk. So, in which types of stories do we see the robots who can talk? like for example in Star Wars, yeah, in Hitchhikers, Guide on the Galaxy, and so on. So, science stories, but there is a word for genre, yeah? Є особливий жанр наукової фантастики, який, до речі, скорочено називається sci-fi. We saw this in the previous slides. Бачили, як це називається в попередніх слайдах. I'm going to write the short word for this one, sci-fi, yeah? And here I can see you're also writing the correct answers. Very good. Excellent job, guys. Yes, this is called science fiction stories. So science fiction stories often mention robots that can talk. Good. Well done. Again, you can see the short word sci-fi in the chat. Pay attention, it has a hyphen, зазвичай пишуть з дефісом. Sci, дефіс, fi. Okay, number 4. Let's take a look at this sentence. This book has a very boring something. That's why I didn't finish it. So, what can the book has that may be very boring? Що може бути такого нудного в книжці, що людина її не закінчила навіть читати? Was it narrator? Was it boring title? Was it a boring plot? Or maybe a boring setting? What do you think? Boring narrator, boring title, boring plot, or boring setting? What fits best here? And pay attention that we still have 2 more sentences after this one. So you can quickly take a look at that. But basically, we can understand, yeah, from the context, з контексту самого речення можна зрозуміти, що це про історію. Так? Історія, сюжет в книжці дуже нудний. So basically, the English word for sujet is plot. Yeah, you're already writing that in the chat. Very nice. Okay, so this book has a very boring plot. That's why I didn't finish it. Great. Number 5. Every chapter of this book has its own something. So what could it be? Every chapter or like every part of the book, yeah, так, глава, кожна глава цієї книги має свій власний або свою власну що? What would that be? What do we have in number 5? Okay. Every chapter of this book has its own, let me help you, name. Yeah, every chapter is named in a specific way. It has its own name. Okay. Yeah, very good. The word is title. Every chapter of the book has its own title. В кожній главі цієї книжки є своя власна назва. Okay, and now we have the last sentence, number 6. The imaginary world of Narnia is the main something of this fantasy book. So, the imaginary world of Narnia, уявний, вигаданий світ Нарнії, є головним чимось цієї книги жанру фентезі. Що ж це може бути? What can it be? The imaginary world of Narnia. This is where the events happen, right? So if we talk about the place where the events are happening or some circumstances in which they are happening, so would it be a narrator or setting that we need to use here? What do you think? You can write your ideas in YouTube channel chat. The imaginary world of Narnia is the main setting or narrator of this fantasy book. Okay, that's definitely setting, because narrator is somebody who tells the story. Narnia doesn't tell the story by itself. Так, Narnia не розказує історію. вона не є сторітелером або оповідачем, це є просто circumstances, так, setting, там, де відбуваються події. Це таке навколишнє середовище. So that would be the main setting of the fantasy book. Okay, the extra word, as you may have noticed, is narrator. So somebody who tells the story or storyteller. Оповідач. Так, це слово у нас виявилось зайве. Okay, then that's it with the exercise. Now a little bit of tips. We're, as I promised you in the beginning, today we're going to revise some information about how to write a book review. Сьогодні ми трішечки поговоримо про те, як писати відгук на книгу. A book review, as you can see here, it's a written description of what a book is about. This may help others decide whether to read the book. Зараз ми швиденько пробіжимося по основним рекомендаціям про те, як писати відгук на книгу, or a book review. On the right, you can see a very good template for English book review that you may use in your English lessons. Праворуч ви можете на картинці побачити, як виглядає чорнетка, так, або draft, який можна використовувати для написання book review. So, let's move to the written description and what do we need to write about in a book review. So definitely we mentioned the writer's name, then we mentioned book title and genre, main characters, and it's a good idea to say a few words about the book plot and setting. Depending on which task your teacher gives to you, a book review can be short, or it may be even for like 15-18 sentences long. Тобто, відповідно від завдання, яке ви маєте, звичайно, це може бути або коротенький відгук про книгу, або це може бути щось набагато більше. Тобто, тоді буде не a few words about the book plot and setting and characters, but many more in sentences. Тоді потрібно написати не кілька слів, а прям декілька речень про кожну з цих деталей. So, let's take a look at how we need to plan a book report or a book review. Як же ж ми його плануємо писати? Так, якщо в нас є завдання написати відгук про книгу, починаємо з hook, гачок. Yeah, we have to make a line which catches your reader's attention. Тобто нам необхідно зловити нашого читача, той, хто буде читати наш book review, and make them interested in your writing. Тобто нам потрібно зацікавити читача в тому, що ми пишемо. A good example for a hook can be the first sentence of this example book report from the Українська школа онлайн website. Тобто це з того уроку, який є на сайті LMS Online. Ви можете ознайомитись з коротким уроком, з коротким відео по цій темі, власне, звідси і матеріали. Отже, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the third book of the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Okay, now we know what it is. Now we know what the report is about. Now we know about the character, a little bit about the writer. So that is a good hook. Then let's take a look at the second part, the second step. Другий крок, що ми пишемо в відгуці про книгу. Essential book information or important information from the book. We share any general information about the book that is important for readers to know. We need to mention the title, the author, and if the book is part of a series. В наступній частинці нашого рев'ю пишемо про те, хто у нас автор, яка назва книги, чи є ця книга частиною серії книг. For example, as the whole story in general tells us about the adventures of the young wizard and the evil things he has to face and fight, this very book introduces to us an evil wizard whose name is Sirius Black. So here we can see that general story, this very book introduces us to whom, so this is essential book information. Now basic plot summary, невеличка узагальнення про сюжет. We write a synopsis of a plot, невеличке узагальнення сюжету пишемо, and tell your audience what the story is generally about. We can describe some main characters too, but don't forget you have to avoid spoilers. Уникаємо спойлерів, не розказуємо про все, що станеться у книжці. So here is a good example of this paragraph of basic plot summary. Sirius Black is considered to be the traitor, the one who told Lord Voldemort where the Potters lived, and it helped the Dark Lord to find and kill them. After 13 years he spent in Azkaban, a prison for magicians. Sirius Black manages to escape, and adult wizards are afraid he's looking for Harry Potter to kill him. So this is basic plot summary. Nothing important mentioned, but we know what the book is about. Так, нічого такого прям розкриваючого сюжету ми не дізнались, але ми знаємо в загальному тепер, що відбувається в книзі. So this is your third paragraph of basic plot summary. And after that, you may give your opinion and recommendation. You can share what you think of a book and if you would recommend it to others or not. And of course, it's always good to mention the reasons why. Так? Тобто ми говоримо, чи ми рекомендували цю книгу, ми говоримо про власну думку про цю книгу і, звичайно, аргументуємо. Не забуваємо казати, чому нам сподобалось, не сподобалось, чому ми рекомендуємо або не рекомендуємо. For example, I believe this book is one of the best of the series as it shows us the growth of the characters. You can observe how the main characters, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, become stronger. It also teaches the readers about the difficulty but importance of a moral choice, and of course, it praises the power of love and friendship. So, your opinion and recommendation. As you can see, you can start with the phrases such as, I believe, in my opinion, I think. So when you talk about your idea. And yeah, when we finalize, your book review should consist of the following parts. Тобто, якщо ми узагальнимо, наш відгук про книгу має складатися з наступних частин. 1. Introduction, вступ. 2. Summary of book. 3. Book details, characters and plot. 4. Evaluation and conclusion, тобто оцінка і висновок про книгу. These are 4 paragraphs that are needed to be in the book report. You can reread the full book review again on the website of Ukrainian School Online to today's lesson. And as a part of your homework, you can try writing your own book review. So using the example from today's lesson or using other examples from the internet websites, you may find all of them all over the internet. However, the last thing that I would like to pause today at before we finish the lesson is a short recommendation. Останнє, що я хочу додати на сьогоднішній урок, це рекомендація вебсайту з відгуками про книги. Звідки можна, до речі, почерпнути дуже хороші ідеї про те, як писати book review. So, the website is called goodreads.com. You can register here and you can search for the books, the book names. You can see the updates about the new books of different genres that appear in the libraries all over the world and the bookstores. You can follow what you read. You can follow your friends and see what they read. And again, you can read and write book reviews. So you can evaluate the books that you have read. You can put 5 stars, 4 stars, 0 stars to them. And write the reviews saying whether you liked it or not, why you liked it or not, and if you would recommend it or you wouldn't recommend it. So goodreads.com is a good idea for you to see how reviews are written by real people. So, and it's a good website to take a look at, to track the books that you're reading. Хороший вебсайт для того, щоб слідкувати за новинками книжковими та відмічати те, що ви хотіли прочитати або вже прочитали. So basically, that's it for today. Don't forget that you can read the information to today's lesson and check the materials on the website of Ukrainian School Online. Have a great day, take care, and see you next time. Bye-bye.